So we know we've always talked about voter fraud. We know it's real. We know there's fake people who die, who vote basically that never existed. There's people who have died long ago and somehow they're voting, of course. I remember in Florida, there were counties where 100 and something percent of the vote, the possible turnout actually turned out. Now think about that for a second. How can you have more than a certain population in an area that's at a certain precinct actually show up to vote? It doesn't make sense. This was several years back. But one of the claims Donald Trump made against the Democrats was that, again, voter fraud to the tunes of millions and millions, not just a few little one-offs, that this was rampant, this was planned, etc. They were using, again, fake voter, we'll call it just fake votes, people somehow, I guess, pretending to be somebody else, if you will, at the same time, I guess, doing the same thing, dead people voting. How the hell is this possible? So, again, out of the two states in the entire country that I would, really talk about being liberal left, number one takes the cake, California. But then you have New York, and it's not all of New York. It's mostly New York City. Having said that, this Zero Hedge article is about an LA county, of course, California, admits that the number of registered voters are at 144% of resident citizens of voting age. How do you have that many people? I guess the same thing I'm talking about happened in Florida. This is actually authored by Mike Shedlock of Mishtalk. The Election Integrity Project California provides a list of 11 California counties that have more registered voters than voting age citizens. In addition, Los Angeles County officials informed the project that the number of registered voters now stands at a number that is a whopping 144% of the total number of resident citizens of voting age. The Election Integrity Project California Incorporated has joined Judicial Watch Inc., a nonpartisan organization in Washington, D.C., in sending a National Voter Registration Act Section 8 Notice of Violation letter to California Secretary of State Alex Padilla. NRVA complaints excerpts. Here we go. Dear Secretary Padilla, from public records obtained on the Election Assistance Commission, or EAC, 2016 Election Administration Voting Survey, or EAVS, and through verbal accounts from various county agencies, 11 counties in California have more total registered voters than citizen voting age population calculated by the U.S. Census Bureau's 2011 to 2015 American Community Survey. This is strong circumstantial evidence that California municipalities are not conducting reasonable voter registration list maintenance, as mandated under the NVRA. This letter serves as statutory notice that Election Integrity Project California, Inc., a registered nonprofit corporation in California, and Judicial Watch, Inc., will bring a lawsuit against you and, if appropriate, against the counties named in this letter if you do not take specific actions to correct these violations of Section 8 within 90 days. You can only applaud somebody, or in this case, these nonprofits, for doing this. You or I? Oh, I'm too busy. I got stuff to do. I gotta go swim with the kids today. We gotta go swimming in our new pool, man. Yeah. Got time for that. When in fact, we all should have time for that. Although I can weasel my way out of just a little bit by saying, well, I do a lot of YouTube videos like this one. I'm spreading the word to other people, which does help. But nonetheless, of course, I'm in Florida, not in California. But we did have some similar issues here in Florida a few years back, if you recall. So that's two different states that have seen this kind of an issue. So I wonder how many other states have a similar issue. And if you have an issue, here's a tissue, is essentially what they're going to be told. The following information explains how we determined that your state and the counties named are in violation of NVRA Section 8 and the remedial steps that must be taken to comply with the law. So here's citizens essentially telling the government, here's how you comply with your laws. because you're not so far. Isn't that amazing? Number 1. 11 California counties have more total registers than citizen voting age population. Again, based on this report that they had from the Census Bureau, and the most recent California total active and total inactive voter registration records, California is failing to comply with the voter registration list maintenance requirements of Section 8 of the NVRA. For example, a comparison of the 2011 to 2015 U.S. Census registration list maintenance requirements of Section 8 of the NVRA, a comparison of the 2011 to 2015 U.S. Census Bureau's American Community Survey and the most recent California active and inactive voter registration records shows that there were more total registered voters than there were adults over the age of 18 living in each of the following 11 counties: Imperial, Lassen, Los Angeles, quick look surprised, Monterey, San Diego, San Francisco, San Mateo, Santa Cruz, Solano, Stanislaus, and Yolo. Our research shows that the situation in these counties is, if anything, worse than the foregoing data suggests. For example, we contacted Los Angeles County directly this past June. At that time, county officials informed us that the total number of registered voters now stands at a number that is a whopping 144% of the total number of resident citizens of voting age. Number 2, the NVRA requires you to undertake reasonable efforts to maintain accurate lists of eligible registered voters. Number 3, failure to comply with NVRA subjects you to lawsuits and financial costs. In passing the NVRA, Congress authorized a private right of action to enforce the provisions of the NVRA, including Section 8. Accordingly, private persons may bring a lawsuit under the NVRA if the violations identified herein are not corrected within 90 days of receipt of this letter. Number 4, avoiding litigation. We hope you will promptly initiate efforts to comply with Section 8 so that no lawsuit will be necessary. Let me stop there. How much do you want to bet? And I know you wouldn't dare bet this, but I'm just going to say it like that anyways. That they ain't going to be complying with no damn citizens telling us, the government, how to run things. We are liberal left California. The 144% turnout, is how we like it. Sue us. Which means sue yourselves and other taxpayers, because if you win, which I don't know, you can sue for money. Not necessarily. You're just going to sue for them to take corrective actions. And then they're going to drag it out, and they'll file an appeal, and etc. Number 5. Well, first of all, I didn't finish it. Let me start over. Avoiding litigation. We hope that you will promptly initiate efforts to comply with Section 8 so that no lawsuit will be necessary. We asked you, and to the extent that they wish to respond separately, each county identified in this letter to please respond to this letter in writing no later than 30 days from today, informing us of the compliance steps you are taking. Specifically, we ask you to 1, conduct or implement a systematic, uniform, non-discriminatory program to remove from the list of eligible voters the names of persons who have become ineligible to vote by reason of a change of residence, and to conduct or implement additional routine measures to remove from the list of eligible voters the names of persons who have become ineligible to vote by reason of death, change of residence, or a disqualifying criminal conviction, and to remove non-citizens who have registered to vote unlawfully. Number 5, production of records. Finally, pursuant to your obligations under the NVRA 15, your office, and to the extent that they keep records separately from your office, each county named in this letter should make available to us all pertinent records concerning the implementation of programs and activities conducted for the purpose of ensuring the accuracy and currency of California's official eligible voter lists during the past 2 years. Please include these records with your response to this letter. I hope that the concerns identified in this letter can be resolved amicably However, if we believe you do not intend to correct the above identified problems, a federal lawsuit seeking declaratory and injunctive relief against you may be necessary. We are looking forward to receiving your prompt response. Here is the full letter if you want to read it. He says, key questions: how bad is actual fraud versus possible fraud? Number 2, how much is purposeful fraud, letting non-citizens, on the voter rolls? And number 3, how often do the dead and non-residents vote? Those are questions I can't wait to see the answers from. I'm sure you can't either. And you're going to find out that it's so bad, ultimately, and it may have to be done through the lawsuit before they finally get the real numbers. You're going to find out that it's so bad, you're going to start questioning every election that has ever happened during your lifetime, and probably even before your lifetime, before you were alive, and saying, oh my God, has any of these elections really been the real turnout? The person who won, not the turnout, but the person who actually won, did they really win? Because we have had some close ones, right? My money is on it's worse than terrible. You have no idea how bad it is. Yeah, thanks. The best country, money, bought politicians can provide you. Take care.